so what I want to do when it tells me to solve by graphing is I'm going to graph them both. I'm going to graph them in 2 different colors so I can tell the difference between my lines. I'm going to start by going down 3. My slope is negative 3 over 2, so I go down 3 more squares from the point I just drew. I felt like I drew it on the line for some reason. And I go right 2. And I'm going to use a ruler or some other straight edge to connect my 2 points. I'm going to do the same thing with the other line. I go up 5 for this one. And then my slope is 1 over 2, so I go up 1, right 2. And I connect my points. And then I decide where they cross, which is right here. That's negative 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Negative 5, positive 3 is my solution. Same thing over here. I'm going to go to where I'm going to graph them. So it goes down 3. My slope is negative 1, so I go down 1, right 1. And I connect my 2 points. Do the same thing with the other graph. A half is in between 1 and 2. So then I'm going down 5 halves from that. So I go down 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2. Then I draw to connect my points. These ones cross right here. That's positive 3, negative 6. Negative 6. For 3 through 5, I'm checking to see if it's a solution to the system, so I'm going to plug them in. This is x, this is y, so I have 3 plus 4. It equals 7, I'm good there. Then I have 3 minus 2 times 4. And I want to see if this will equal negative 5. Negative 2 times 4 is negative 8. And then 3 minus 8 is negative 5. So this one is the solution. Same thing with number 4. This is going to be my x, this is going to be my y. I plug them both in. So I get 2 equals negative, because that's part of my equation. And then negative 5 is the number I'm plugging in. Negative 3. Negative 5 makes it positive. 5 minus 3 is 2. So that one's good. I plug into the second one. I get 2 equals negative 5. Oh no, this is supposed to be 3 times negative 5. Plus 10. 3 times negative 5 is negative 15. So plus 10. Negative 15 plus 10 is negative 5. That doesn't equal. So this one doesn't work. It is not a solution. This one I'm plugging in 0 for x and y. So I have 5 times 0 minus 4 times 0 equals 8. So 5 times 0 is 0. Negative 4 times 0 is 0. 0 plus 0 does not equal 8. This one is not a solution. Moving on. This one I'm using substitution. That's where I go ahead and plug it in. So I'm going to plug in this whole second equation. I'm going to plug it in for the y up there. So instead of writing y, I'm going to write everything I circled in red. So I have 12 minus 3x, and then equals 4. I'm going to distribute this in, so I write the 2x out front. 2 times 12 is 24. 2 times negative 3 is negative 6x, equals 4. I'm going to go ahead and combine like terms. 2 minus 6 is negative 4. And then the 24 and 4 stay where they are for now. I'm going to go ahead and subtract 24 on both sides. I get negative 4x equals negative 20. I go ahead, I divide by negative 4 on both sides. I get x equals 5. I am not quite done. I have one piece of my puzzle. I'm going to go back and plug 5 in for one of these equations. Because this one, y is all by itself, I'm going to plug it in that. So I have, I have y equals 12 minus 3, and then I plug in 5 for x. So negative 3 times 5 is negative 15. 12 minus 15 is negative 3. Now I can write my coordinate point. That always goes x, y, alphabetical order. I have 5, comma, negative 3. And I'm going to do the same thing for number 7, but on number 7 I first need to get one of my variables alone. I am going to get x alone. So I subtract 7 on both sides. I get x equals negative 3. So I'm going to go ahead and plug in negative 3 into the top equation. So I have negative 2 times negative 3 plus 9y equals 15. Negative 2 times negative 3 is positive 6. And I subtract 6 on both sides. So I have 9y equals 9. I divide by 9 on both sides. Y equals 1. Notice earlier I already got my x, so I don't need to go back and find x again. My answer here is going to be negative 3, comma 1. Elimination is the next method we're going to work on, and this is the one where I cancel out terms. So what I want is I want the coefficient of either x or y to be the same, but opposite. So on number 8, it's a lot easier to turn a 3 into a 6 than it is to turn a 4 into an f. So I'm going to multiply my whole top equation by negative 2, because I need it to be opposite the sign, but I still need it to be the 6. So then I get negative 6x plus 8y equals negative 38. And I got all those numbers because I took negative 2 times 3 to get negative 6. Negative 2 times negative 4, positive 8. Negative 2 times 19 gave me the negative 38. Now what I'm going to do is the bottom equation and the one I just wrote, I'm going to add straight down. These two cancel out. 9 plus 8 is 17. 21 minus 38 is negative 17. I'm going to go ahead and divide by 17 on both sides. I get y equals negative 1. I'm going to take this and plug it back into either equation. This one really isn't an easier equation, so I'm just going to plug it into the top one, but you could plug it into the bottom one and you should get the same answer as me. Negative 4 times negative 1 is 4. Then I want to subtract 4 on both sides. Get 3x equals 15. Divide by 3, x equals 5. So my answer here is negative 1, comma 5. On number 9, no matter what I do, I'm going to have to multiply both equations. Since the bottom's already negative, I'm going to just cancel out my x's again. So I'm going to multiply the top one by 3 and the bottom one by 4. On my top equation, I have 12x because 3 times 4 is 12. 3 times 5 is 15y. 3 times 3 is 9. On the bottom, I have 4 times negative 3, which gives me negative 12. 4 times 2, which gives me 8. And 4 times 38, I do not know that one. 4 times 38 is 152. Okay. Then I go ahead and I add straight down. The 12s cancel out. I have 23y. And 161 over on the right. I divide by 23 on both sides. I know it cancels out on the left. I don't know what 161 divided by 23 is. It's 7. So my answer for y is 7. I'm going to go ahead and plug that in. I'm going to pick the top one. Okay. Ooh, that's off the screen. 5 times 7 is 35. Then I'm going to subtract 35 on both sides. I get 4x equals negative 32. So 5 by 4. X equals negative 8. So I go ahead and I want to rewrite this as a coordinate pair. I have negative 8, comma 7. Moving forward, this one lets me solve using any method I want. I am going to pick, for number 10, I'm going to pick substitution. So I need to get one of my letters alone. I'm going to pick the top equation to get a letter alone. I'm going to add y to both sides. I get x equals 4 plus y. So I'm going to go ahead and take this piece and plug it in for the x right there. So now I have 2 times 4 plus y minus 3y equals 3. I'm going to distribute the 2 in. 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times y is 2y. Then I combine like terms. 2 minus 3 is negative y. I want to subtract 8 on both sides. I get negative y equals negative 5. I divide by negative 1 on both sides. I get y equals 5. I'm going to go ahead and plug that into my top equation. So I have x minus 5 equals 4. I'm going to add 5 to both sides. X equals 9. So my answer here is 9, 5. On number 11, it's probably easier if I do elimination. So I don't want to get anything alone. I'm going to multiply by negative 3 on the bottom. So over on the left, I'm going to just rewrite my top equation. Nothing changed. On the bottom, I have negative 3 times 3, which is negative 9. Negative 3 times y, which is negative 3y. And negative 3 times negative 7, which gives me positive 21. I'm going to add straight down. 4 minus 9 gives me negative 5x. The 3y's cancel out. Negative 1 plus 21 is 20. I divide by negative 5 on both sides. I get x equals negative 4. I'm going to plug into the bottom equation. So I get 3 times negative 4 plus y equals negative 7. 3 times negative 4 is negative 12 plus y equals negative 7. I add 12 to both sides. I get y equals 5. My answer here is going to be negative 4, 5. On number 12, I'm going to make this one elimination. It's easy just to change the signs on the bottom one. So then the y's cancel out, the 5's cancel out, but then I have 2. So I have 0 equals 2. That's not true. So my answer here is no solution. These lines are parallel and they're never going to cross, so I'm never going to have a solution. Number 13, I'm going to do elimination, and I'm going to work with the y's because they're opposite signs. So the top one I'm going to multiply by 3, and the bottom one I'm going to multiply by 2. On the top equation, I have 3 times 8 to get 24, 3 times 2 to get 6, 3 times 22 to get 66. On the bottom, I have 2 times 5 to get 10, 2 times negative 3 to get negative 6y, 2 times 35 to get 70. We go ahead and add straight down. 24 plus 10 is 34. 6y's cancel out. 66 plus 70 is 136. I'm going to divide both sides by 34. I don't know. 36 divided by 4. 34. I did it by 34. It's 4. So I get x equals 4. I'm going to plug it into the bottom one. I can pick the top. Doesn't really matter. So I have 5 times 4 minus 3y equals 35. 5 times 4 is 20. Minus 3y equals 35. Then what I want to do is I want to isolate my variables, so I'm going to go ahead and subtract 20 on both sides. So I get negative 3y equals 15. I divide by negative 3. Y equals negative 5. So my answer for this question is 4, negative 5. Moving on. I still have 2 more to solve using any method I want. I'm going to do the same thing on number 14. It's easier to multiply the top and bottom by opposite numbers because they're opposite signs. So the top row I'm going to multiply by 3, and the bottom row I'm going to multiply by 7. On the top row I have 4 times 3, which gives me 12x, 3 times 7, which gives me 21y, and 3 times 1, which gives me 3. On the bottom, I have 7 times 6 to give me 42x, 7 times negative 3 to give me negative 21y, 7 times 5, I do not know, 7 times 5, 7 times 15 is 105. I'm going to add straight down. 12 plus 42 is 54. These cancel out, and I have 108. I'm going to divide by 54. 108 divided by 54 is 2. I'm going to go ahead and plug in. I'm just going to pick the top equation. I have 4 times 2 plus 7y equals 1. Then I multiply. 4 times 2 is 8. 7y equals 1. Then I was going to subtract 8 on both sides. I have 7y equals negative 7. I divide by 7. Y equals negative 1. So my answer here is 2, negative 1. Number 15, I'm going to go ahead and multiply the bottom by 2 to get it opposite signs for the x values. So I'm just going to rewrite my x values. And I have 2x minus 2y equals 8. I add straight down, the x's cancel out, the y's cancel out, and the 8's cancel out. So I'm left with 0 equals 0. Since this is true, 0 does equal 0, I'm going to have infinitely many solutions. And this only works when I have 2 of the same number. Just notice on the front side. So on the second page, I didn't, and it made me have no solutions. Okay. Number 16 is a word problem. It's talking about selling animals at the fair. She has goats. I'm going to make that x. And chickens, I'm going to make that y. I know she's got a total of 11 animals, so I have x plus y equals 11. And there's a total of 36 legs. Goats have 4 legs, and chickens have 2 legs. So now I have 2 equations, and I can solve them however I want. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the top equation, and I'm going to multiply by negative 2, because elimination is my favorite way to solve. So I multiply, I get negative 2x minus 2y equals negative 22. Then I want to add straight down, so I get 2x, the y's cancel out, 36 minus 22 gives me 14. I divide by 2, I get x equals 7. I'm going to plug back into that equation. So I have x plus 7 equals 11. I subtract 7 on both sides, I get x equals 4. Because I was talking about real things in this problem and it wasn't just a bunch of numbers, I want to go back and say what x was. X was goats, so she has 4 goats. And y was chickens, so she has 7 chickens. Number 17 is talking about the football team traveling. They are going to take some buses and vans. And there's a total of 7 vehicles. So buses is going to be x, vans is going to be y. And then the buses hold 30 people. The vans hold 5. And there's 135 people going to this game. So I'm going to go ahead, do elimination again. I want to cancel out y because it's a smaller number. So I'm going to multiply the top equation by negative 5. I get negative 5x minus 5y equals negative 35. Then I add straight down. 30 minus 5 is 25. The y's cancel out. 135 minus 35 is 100. I divide both sides by 25. I get x equals 4. Then I'm going to plug into the top equation. So I'm going to have x. Oh no, x was the variable I solved for. I'm going to have 4 plus y equals 7. Then I subtract 4 on both sides. I get y equals 3. So just like in the last problem where I had actual meanings for the x and y, there are 4 buses and 3 vans.